So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to replace your bulbs within your dash cluster. Your speedometer lights, oil pressure, temperature, fuel, tachometer, etc. There was 7 of them that I replaced in this project, and they were LED beforehand. And you might think, why would you want to replace them with incandescent? The reason why is because these LEDs worked correctly for about a year and a half and then began pulsating. So, if you guys have any answers on why they would fail over time, LEDs are supposed to be rated high life, I don't know. This truck has no previous other electrical issues. Another huge thing is, instead of using tape or marking the actual faceplate, I like to take a photo of the needles and where they are. It is much more accurate to have a photo or multiple photos of the needles rather than putting a piece of tape on there. The bulbs that I'm using for this installation are incandescent bulbs, because like I said earlier, my LEDs are pulsating. Still do not know why. These are just basic 12-volt dash lights, nothing fancy. They have the original color that the truck came with, the warm white glow. Now we have the faceplate, or the background, so to say, of the cluster, and the needles off, and this is what you're going to see. And you're going to have to remove this white and clear bezel, or reflector, or whatever you want to call it, from these clips. Now it's released in this part. But once you remove this, you're going to see the green circuit board that you're going to be working on. Now you can see the stepper motors, and there is a light or two usually next to each stepper motor. It might vary between your year and mine. Mine's 2006, but I'm replacing 7 of these already previously changed out to LED bulbs to my mini 12-volt incandescents. As you see here, there is one by each stepper motor. Be sure not to hit a stepper motor with the soldering iron. Sounds obvious, but it's actually very tight in some of the spots. Now we are soldering the bulbs into place. Just simply tap with the soldering iron the contact point to remove your old bulb. If you remove the stock bulb, an older one, it's going to have a blue plastic casing around it. Essentially, it comes off the same way. And to add your new bulb in, whatever you want, LED and or incandescent, whatever you want to do, just simply heat up the contact point and place in the prong. Just be careful that the prongs aren't crisscrossing each other, causing a short or your bulb to fail or vibrate off in the future. I have long leads. They can be much shorter, but I just tuck these to the side, bend them over, and they work perfect. I've installed LEDs before in a dash like this, and this truck also had LEDs. And when you do LEDs, there's a resistor you're going to see on one of the ends. And now the resistor is going to go to the positive contact point, and the only way you're going to figure it out in these trucks is if you go back, trial and error, and plug it back into the harness and see which ones light up and which ones don't. With the ones that don't light up, just simply reverse the contact points of the light to the circuit board. Just reverse it, and it will surely light up. That is if you're doing LEDs, not what I'm doing right here. But I'd figure I'd throw that in since many of you are going to be doing this with LEDs rather than incandescents. Install the top bezel and reflector back onto the circuit board, but make sure that all your lights are clearing the reflector and the white bezel, and that they do not interfere with any of your stepper motors and etc. Everything is looking nice and clean and very well fitting, and I'm satisfied with it. It should throw a nice color output despite them not being completely vertical. That does not matter. These lights have a good range and they will reflect up onto your dash cluster perfectly. After testing the lights, you're going to put the faceplate back on, and now you're going to have to add the needles back to the cluster. Doing this, you're going to spin it clockwise and counterclockwise until you feel it get tension, so to say, and after when it gets tension, you can put it to the correct area of that you noted beforehand. Before you took these needles off, you need to really focus on making sure you have them in the right. You have it marked down, whether it's photos or tape, whichever way you want to do it. These needles need to be back into the right spot. Of course, you want your parameters to be correct. So